It's Madden NFL 24, and the question is...
Here's the punter, Jake Bailey, ready to do the honors. And we are underway in Southern California. And he'll be tackled just shy of the 25. So here's the Charger offense making their way out. And a glance here at their quarterback, standing 6'3".
Brandon, I know he isn't at the status of some of the elite names in this league, but I do know he's an absolute fighter because he's heard all the criticism. He's read...
Ball start, offense.
First down, Patriots. He was tackled at the 46-yard line. It's a gain of 8. Brings up second and 2.
What's the deal?
Delay of game, offense. Still second down.
Second and 9 at the Chargers' 41-yard line. Brady's pass complete to number 33. A gain of 4.
Ball start, offense.
What's he talking about?
The score, Chargers 7, Patriots nothing.
Delay of game, offense.
Come on, dog! Keep some little family back, boys. They got a whole different.
Still first down. Ball start, offense.
What are they thinking?
Tackled back at the 41-yard line. A loss of 10 yards brings up fourth down. The ball carried by number 33. Taken down at his own 7.
All right, so this is somewhat embarrassing. I just realized I hadn't activated the microphone. So I've been talking literally this entire time and announcing the whole game, and nobody heard a thing. So that's terrible. I haven't done that since the very first broadcast that I did. That is horrific. Oh my God, that's embarrassing as hell. I apologize for that.
Still second down.
Well, all right. So let me kind of. Oh, geez. Oh, that's horrible. All right. Yeah, when I initially set up a broadcast, as I'm posting the link and all that kind of stuff, I turn the mic off so that everybody's not hearing me clicking around and doing all that kind of stuff. And then when I activate it, I hit the button again once I'm ready to actually start the announcing aspect of things. And I forgot to hit the button. That's terrible. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, that's literally the first time I've done that since the first broadcast I did on YouTube. Oh God, that's great. Anyway, so I'm greatly appreciative of you guys checking in here. I apologize for that. God, who knows how many people were going to come in here for this broadcast and then we're like, oh, this guy's not even talking. So I wonder why Dwayne, who knows my voice so well, asked before if I was announcing. I was like, yeah, of course it's me announcing. Who else would it be? Something should have clicked in my head then that something was amiss. Anyway, that's all right. well, I'm going to do a couple of these broadcasts anyway over the next week or so. All right, gee, so I've covered a whole bunch of ground here, but all right, so we'll rehash a few things here. So, the roster selection. The roster selection is from 1960 to the present. Each team has a 130-player master list. Delay of game. Very good, 007. Each team has a 130-player master list of guys throughout their history. Again, this is basically the same kind of setup as the Franchise Stars Baseball League. A random generator picks the 50 players for year one. Those remaining 80 guys will all come in through subsequent rookie drafts. So it's the same thing as the FSBL setup. So you've got teams that have great draws. You know, the Patriots got a really strong draw. They've got Brady, obviously, which is huge. Stanley Morgan and Wes Welker at wide receiver. They got Gronkowski and Russ Francis as their pair of tight ends. So they're really potent offensively, and they've got a solid, if unspectacular, defense. There's no glaring weakness there. No defensive unit is powerhouse. Like the Bears linebacking core is really, really good. For example, the Steelers linebacking core is really, really, like, overwhelmingly good. The Patriots don't have anything like that, but every unit that they have is solid. The Chargers got a crummy draw at quarterback. Tobin Rote and John Freeze, neither one of those guys are great. The Chargers will ultimately get Dan Fouts and Phillip Rivers and Justin Herbert somewhere down the line, but right now this is what they're dealing with. So again, it's not a straight Legends league. It's more like a celebration of history league. But Legends Sports Universe sounds better than Assorted Players Throughout History Universe. So Legends is what we roll with in the name category. As Melvin Gordon, back from injury early on in this game, tries to get a little bit of distance from the goal line just to let the Chargers breathe. Patriots would like to get a stop here, have a shot at getting the ball back and getting some points back by the points on the board before halftime. How are the Eagles? Eagles are... I'm in the midst of doing the Broncos, and then the Eagles are the next team from there. Let me see if I can touch on the... This is really more about me talking to you guys than doing the play-by-play broadcast, although obviously when the league kicks off, I'll be doing that. I apologize again for having the mic muted. I don't know how I didn't realize that. That was terrible. Like I said, who knows how many people came in here who turned away from the broadcast because there was no sound. Give you an idea of the Eagles. Jalen Hurts and Carson Wentz are their first 2 quarterbacks. That's who they'll start with opening season. Wilbert Montgomery, Timmy Brown, LaShawn McCoy, Tom Sullivan, the 70s running back. Their running backs. Mike Quick, Jeremy Maclin among their top receivers. Let me check out their defense, because they have potential to have a hugely good They do get Reggie White on the initial draw, which certainly is a big help for them. Let me see any other big names there. Mike Mamula, Seth Joyner on their initial draw. Byron Evans. Yeah, so I mean the Eagles have a decent draw. It looks like their defense is going to be solid. Their offense could be kind of middle of the pack, but their defense looks like it should be a pretty solid group from what I'm looking at. Let me see, Texags. I'll be a Vikings fan since the Vikings are my team. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, the Vikings are going to be a fun one. After I do the Broncos and the Eagles, the Vikings will probably be one of the next teams I do. 2 teams I really want to do who I haven't done yet are the Vikings and the Chiefs. So I may slot those 2 in after I do the Broncos and after I do the Broncos and Eagles. So it's been a tough road here for the Patriots. Again, potent offense, but it has not gotten things going. The Chargers defense is going to have to carry them, because I don't think their offense is going to be great in this initial year. I have completed 10 teams so far, Tex. I'm hoping that I'll have the Broncos and the Eagles done by the end of the weekend. Again, I kind of got a little bit sidetracked in working with the playbook game plan ideas. So again, I think I was talking about that when the mic was unfortunately muted. I've developed a system to convert game plans from Action PC football into creating the playbooks for the teams here in Madden. So every team will have its own personality. They'll run the percentages of whichever coach in their history the random generator spits out as their coach for this. So I'll get them to play appropriately, but it is an incredibly time-consuming, tedious process to adjust the playbook in Madden. It's not intuitive at all. Again, you have to force. I think this is what I was discussing when I realized that the mic was muted. As Gary Sorrell checks in the chat. How are you, Gary? Gary showing up after my embarrassing faux pas. I had the mic muted for like the first 20 minutes of this broadcast. So I said a whole bunch of stuff about this project that nobody heard that now I'm trying to rehash. Hail Mary into the end zone to end the half. It falls harmlessly. And the Chargers are going to go to halftime as the underdogs, having blanked a very potent Patriots offense. Terrific job by the Chargers defense. 114 total yards for the Patriots in the first half, and about 20 of them came on this Kevin Falk run. So good job by the Chargers. Gary's the one who suggested this AFL matchup here for this first broadcast. There were a couple of other good suggestions. I know Dwayne dropped a couple of good ones. Packers Bears, which of course is classic, and Dolphins 49ers. I'll do those broadcasts in the next couple of days. I think 007 suggested Packers and Giants. I'll probably do Packers Bears just because that one's legendary, but I'll get the Giants into a broadcast also. Maybe I'll save the Giants for when I get the Eagles done, and I'll let the Giants and the Eagles battle it out. But that playbook thing. So, in developing the system that I did to take the game plans from the coaches in Action PC and develop it for Madden, that I've got done. That's going to work really well. The problem is assigning the plays in Madden takes a freaking eternity, because to get the game to use the custom playbooks, you have to assign every play in your playbook to a situation. So it has second and long, second and medium, second and short, third and long, third and medium, third and short, etc., all the way down the line. You have to go through each of those situations and assign each play that you want to each situation. And you're only limited to 30 plays per situation. So you've got to kind of go through the whole thing and say, these plays will fit this, these plays will fit this. It's just very tedious, very time-consuming, as Kevin Falk rips a nice run up the middle. Falk has 9 carries for 81 yards. Got to think the Patriots maybe, who aren't having as much luck passing the ball, might lean on Falk a little bit more here in this second half. So it's just a very time-consuming process to do the playbook thing. So that's why I'm going to... So I had kind of been slowed up in doing the player and team entry because I was trying to refine the playbook thing. I'm going to put the playbook thing on the back burner for a while now so I can get all the teams in, because I have pretty much settled my ratings formulas. My ratings formulas look really solid right now. And so I'm going to try to get all the teams in. I'll see how long that takes me to do. And then I'll consider doubling back on the playbook thing. But there is a certain possibility that for year one of the FSFL, teams might use kind of generic playbooks in the first year. And I'll work on getting the playbook thing done for year 2. It's just all a matter of how the time shakes out. Again, right now, I'm not really going to have a league running concurrently with the Franchise Stars Baseball League, because I'm going to be entering the postseason of that. So I want to get through the FSBL playoffs. And when I'm not doing the playoffs, I'm going to be devoting time to entering players in the game for this project. And then when the baseball playoffs are done, if this project is close to completion at that point, then I'll just wait and I'll get the FSFL started. If I still feel like I'm a ways off from completion of this, then I'll probably go and I'll jump and I'll blow through a hockey or a basketball season on here in the interim while I take my 3 weeks or so it usually takes me between seasons for the baseball league to get the rookies imported for the next year. Patriots at midfield. Brady under pressure. Seau hits him. He gets the throw off, but it's out of bounds. So Brady only 10 of 20 so far. Brady, who in a game that I've mentioned, I want to set this up to play a bit more like late 80s, early 90s football than current football. So completion percentages, I want more in like the mid 50s to high 50s than the mid to high 60s like they are now. But Brady, of course, is rated so well. Brady completes in the 60s of his percentages, even in this setting, just because he's rated so well. So a roughing the passer call helps out the Patriots. That gets down to the 16. Brady drops back, looks to the right-hand side, complete. Russ Francis down inside the 5. Goes down a little awkwardly. You can see Francis reaching for his back, and Russ Francis is going to check out of this one as he puts his helmet down on the bench. So again, there's another model that you'll see. Russ Francis never had a beard that I'm aware of. Russ Francis was a mustache guy. The game, in all of its stock face models, of which there are more than 200, don't give you a single player with just a mustache, which is what so many guys in the 70s had. So it gets really frustrating to try to go and create these guys and not be able to pick a face that really resembles them in any fashion. Pass over the middle. Brady hits Gronkowski, but Edwards pops him and he can't hold on. That'll fall incomplete. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 2. Chargers looking for a big goal line stand here. Did an impressive job in the first half. Held this Patriots team scoreless, which is not going to be easy. Handoff there. Sam Cunningham gets a crack at it, and Leslie O'Neal breaks through, picks up his first tackle of the game, trips up Cunningham. It's now 3rd and goal. So the Chargers defense coming up big here. Brady is in the shotgun. He's got a lone setback. Receivers to the near side. Drops back, looks end zone, and he's got him. Touchdown, Stanley Morgan. Brady finds Morgan heading towards the back corner, and the Patriots break through there on the board. Gronkowski celebrates with Morgan. And the Patriots, pending the extra point, as Brady fires a strike between the defenders there, finds the terrifically talented Stanley Morgan. And with the extra point, the Patriots will get this game down to 10-7. Yeah, so Dwayne, so you mentioned correct about Russ Francis not ever having the beard. It's like, if you're not going to let me morph the faces the way like MLB The Show does and stuff like that, then you've got to make sure you've got virtually every kind of description. There are guys in those stock face models that EA gives you with this game who look like aliens. They legitimately look like aliens. They look like ogres that with like large pointy ears and stuff like that. Like, it's absurd. And this is one game, and games traditionally, and I know lots of black people have complained in the history of sports games, like the games never get the hair right. You know, for African American people, never gets their hair right and all that kind of stuff. Madden, I feel, actually does a better job with more variety with the faces of black people in this game than white people, which is almost never the way it happens in any game. But I actually feel like in this one they do. And I guess to a degree it's as it should be, you know, given that, you know, how much of the league is comprised of black players. I guess it's probably true for NBA 2K23 also. But some of the white guy faces in this game, it's literally like they were beamed down from Mars. It's absolutely atrocious. They're faces that you would never, ever pick. And I think it's something like 2/3 of the faces are black people, and 1/3 of the faces are white people, which, again, given the makeup of the league, is fine. That's not a complaint by any means. But then if you're taking 1/4 of the white guy faces, and they're completely unusable because they look so stupid, you're really hamstringing anybody looking to do player creation. I don't understand why they don't let you morph the faces, but it's an EA thing. They do the same thing with the models in NHL, and I feel like the NHL models look better, but so many of the NHL models, at least in 23, I don't have the new version, but at least in 23, the NHL models suffer from the fact that so many of the NHL models look exactly the same. Like, it's like the hair part changes from right to left, but the face is exactly the same. There's just not a lot of variety to the faces in the NHL games. But so because the faces don't match up well here in Madden, I'm really trying to be good about getting the equipment right for all the players. So part of the player creation is for every player I do a Google search of the player and the team that he's on, and from the first 3 images that it shows of him, I take whatever the most prevalent features are. So if he's wearing long sleeves in 2 photos and not in the other one, I'm going to give the guy long sleeves. If he's wearing elbow pads in 2 of them but not elbow pads in the 3rd one, I'm going to give the guy elbow pads, and etc. down the line. I'm not worrying about footwear because I don't really care about the footwear, but you see a player, if a guy played with a big Gene Upshaw neck roll Like, I want the guy to have the neck roll. If you have guys who, tape their arms up huge, like I guess from somebody like maybe like a Jack Lambert or somebody like that. Like, I want them to have the arms taped properly and that kind of thing. It matters, especially when you're doing the merging of history. Have the right helmets. If a guy wore a single bar, back when he played, if he was an early, like, I want him to have the single bar face mask. Yes, I know, Dwayne, you're so hung up on the hip pads for Franco Harris, among others. Yeah, I'm actually surprised because it gives you so many options with respect to so many things as far as equipment goes. I'm actually surprised that the hip pads aren't in it. I almost wonder if they had a problem not getting, like, that the hip pads looked awkward, so they just ditched them completely. Like, when you do long sleeves, they tried to let you, so you can do tight, like, Under Armour long sleeves, like a lot of current players wear. Or you can do kind of looser long sleeves, like the guys back in the 60s wore, and stuff like that. If they played in long sleeves, they were kind of baggier. The baggier long sleeves you can't really assign because it has a glitch where, like, on the back of the player, the undershirt kind of morphs through the jersey. And I don't know if maybe they ran into that same kind of a problem with hip pads and it was a lot more prevalent and they just decided to scrap the hip pads. Because given that it has all the vintage stuff, the vintage neck roll and the vintage arm tape and the vintage hand tape, I'm surprised that hip pads aren't a thing that you can dress a player in. But they are not there because I looked. So Kevin Fall continues to do a fine job here for the Patriots as they try to mount this second half comeback. Again, I am terribly sorry, folks. I did not realize that I had not unchecked my mute button, so the first 20 minutes of this broadcast are me talking to myself, and you can't hear me. So that's embarrassing, to say the least. But we trudge along, and I've tried to kind of rehash everything about this project since then. Big Clue, how are you, my man? Good to see you. Thank you much. 50% off. Oh, there you go. That's a good... It's worth the work, Clue. It's EA, so there's stuff that you have to do to kind of fix the stuff that they screw up. But it's a fun, really well done game, I find. Particularly playing, doing this kind of like sim mode and just watching the games play out. It's an absolute blast. Which is one of the reasons I'm really, really excited to get this league going once I get the teams done. Trying to think of other stuff I need to cover. Again, if anybody has any questions, feel free. I will gladly answer whatever questions you may have about the project. Thinking of things that other people have asked me privately about the project that I can possibly answer. Timeline. I'm hoping that I can have this league up and running by the end of the year. Tex asked, do you anticipate uploading your rosters once they are done or not really? Yeah. I should have no problem being able to these rosters. There are going to be a couple of caveats to it. Because in typical EA stupidity fashion, there are things, and I don't know why they would do this, there are things that I can't adjust until I go into franchise mode. But I can't export the franchise to let you play the franchise mode. So I can't go into franchise mode. For example, salaries. I can't adjust contract lengths or salaries for players until I go into franchise mode. And once I'm in franchise mode, I can edit all of that stuff. So I can give everybody, one of the things I want to do with this, like I did with the Franchise Stars Baseball League, is I'm going to assign a player a contract for the minimum so that salary cap doesn't play in and start screwing with things. For however many years he was with a franchise. So if a guy played with a franchise, gets assigned to a franchise here in this project that he played with, isn't. I want to give him a 6-year contract at the league minimum with that team. I can't do that in Madden the way it's set up until I start the franchise, and then I can go edit it, which means I can't upload the rosters with the guys with the proper contracts. So that's going to be unavoidable. I can't do anything about that. But once the players are all added to the game, I will upload the project, and then I may try to post a spreadsheet with the proper contract lengths for all the players, so that if people want to, they can go in and do it themselves and set everybody's contracts to the same lengths that I have. Again, it's just one of those unnecessarily tedious things. I ran on a minor rant about this the other day, but my big issue, and listen, I know that with the time and work that I put in to develop these projects, I do the games differently than a lot of people play these games. I completely understand that, so I'm not naive enough to think that companies are going to develop their game for somebody to do exactly what I'm doing. Like, I'm not arrogant enough to think that they should be doing that. But at the same time, if you are going to create features, roster editing features that are deep and give you the opportunity to create the things that I'm creating here, wouldn't you want to make that? Thank you, 007. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, buddy. I appreciate you checking in. I will check out your broadcast later on when I'm at work. Wouldn't you want to make it so that people can use these great things that you've created to the best of their ability? And they don't do that. It's like the people, it's like, wow, this feature would be really cool, but then they don't have people who would really use the feature to its maximum capability, test the project out, and make suggestions to them. Hey, this would be great. The first thing I would tell these guys, let me export and import players the way I can in MLB The Show. Don't make it harder. Don't make things harder on creators and modders, because creators and modders are the lifeblood of and I don't say this with arrogance, but they are the lifeblood of a certain component of all of these games now. Even people who do projects that are not things that I'm into and stuff like that, there's a lot of guys modding out there and a lot of guys who do really great work that's different from the stuff that I do, but it's great work nonetheless. NBA, guys creating draft classes and all that kind of stuff. And 2K gets it right. 2K is probably the most mod-friendly of any of the games. The show gets it largely right, too. My only objection with the show is that it doesn't let me import guys or export guys into my franchise. If I'm playing something as a solo franchise and I'm not competing online, why do you care whether I can move guys around my franchise or not, or import new guys into my franchise or not once I'm in it? Like, it's my game. Let me play it the way I want to play it. Don't limit me and say, well, you might import Hank Aaron into your Braves if you're Dwayne March and your Braves don't like their draw, and, well, we're not going to let you do that. Well, screw that. If I want Hank Aaron on my team, I should be able to go and move him onto my team because I'm playing it solo. I'm not playing it against anybody else. So let me tailor-make the game the way I want to make it. So those are the things that set me off about any of these games, is limiting the user's ability to create the experience that they want to create when they are playing on their own. Again, that went a little bit more rant-like than I intended, but it's just, I get more frustrated, and that's an air. Oh my goodness, what a grab! Rote airs it out, and Wes Chandler goes up over Fred Marion and pulls that ball down. The great Wes Chandler. God, he was so good. Look at that. Wes Chandler picks it right out of Fred Marion's hands. Terrific grab by Chandler, and the Chargers are down deep into Patriots territory. Hank should be on every Braves team. A fair point, Dwayne. But yeah, so that's my take on that stuff. Just anything that gives me the ability, again, going back to the playbook creation thing in this. So if you joined late, first of all, thank you for anybody who's checking in here. Again, I apologize. I inadvertently had the mute button hit for like the first 20 minutes of this broadcast. So if anybody had come in and checked out and you're watching this afterwards or whatever like that, I apologize for botching the beginning of this broadcast. That's the first time I've done that since the first time I streamed to YouTube from my PS5. And that was more than a year ago. But like the playbook thing, so I have devised a system that will take game plan data from Action PC for, however the Pittsburgh Steelers played, however Bill Cowher coached the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2005. And we'll create a playbook in Madden that will convert that data into a usable playbook in Madden. It's a spreadsheet thing. It's a lot of data entry, but it works. And it's going to be able to give each of these teams a personality. For each of these teams is going to be assigned a coach from the random generator from their history, a coach who took their team to the playoffs at some point. So like the Chargers could get Schottenheimer or Coryell or Bobby Ross, for example. But anyway, that game plan creation thing. So I've created that and it will work. But the process for making a playbook and making it functional in Madden is completely unintuitive. So it's just, again, you have to assign a play to multiple situations, second and long, second and short, third and long, third and short, individually. So you have to go in there, and it adds like 5 unnecessary steps to the process that just shouldn't be the case. Stuff like that, good games with good plans implemented badly bothers me more than bad games. Because if a game just is a bad game, I'll just junk it. And I'll say, all right, I'm not going to use this. I'm not going to play this. But something like this, it's like, God, this is good with the potential to be great, but why are you screwing this up? That's far more irritating to me. So the Chargers had to settle for a field goal there, and now they're letting Brady have a chance to get things going for the Patriots. Pass over the middle. Stanley Morgan takes a pop from Vency Glenn, but holds on. Gets a strike from Brady out near midfield. Again, the Chargers defense has played exceptionally well in this game, but you do not want to let these Patriots hang around. 5th tackle on the game for Vency Glenn. Nice job by Stanley Morgan to hold on. Down inside, 9 minutes left. 2 tight ends set for the Patriots. Brady calls Morgan into motion. Drops back. Dumps it over the middle. That pass is complete. He's got Morgan again. There's a flag on the play. All right, so this is one of the other things that I've got to tweak. So, as Junior Seau gets hit for roughing the passer, I really want to have a proper number of penalties called in the game. But that's really, really hard. The game doesn't call enough penalties, even with the sliders maxed. But a penalty that it loves to call if you raise the sliders is roughing the passer. So, do I want to deal with more roughing the passer calls if it will get me to the proper penalty numbers, or do I just sit there and say, all right, penalties are going to be a little bit low for the league? And there it is. There's the strike. Brady to Gronkowski. That's only been seen 100 times. And the Patriots, in a game that the Chargers have really controlled in a lot of ways, the Patriots have rallied back and, pending the extra point, are going to take the lead here late in the 4th. Perfect throw from Brady. Actually, a little bit behind Gronk, but Gronk pulls it in. 8:15 left in the fourth. It's funny, I'm watching, and I'm blanking on who the assigned kicker is. Smith, I think, for the Patriots. And I said before when I was talking about uniforms and stuff like that, and I'm not focusing on footwear, like I'm focusing on the wristbands and the sleeves and neck rolls and shoulder pad size and all that kind of stuff. I'm not really worrying about footwear. But I wonder if I can assign a barefooted kicker, because I'm watching the kicker there for the Patriots, and we mentioned the Eagles earlier on for 007 too, and I'm thinking of Tony Franklin. I'm like, can I have a barefooted kicker? I admittedly don't know that. That's going to be an interesting one to come up with when the situation arises. So now, Tobin Rote, who has not been great but has been efficient at the helm for the Chargers, now is in a position to try to mount a comeback. They do only need a field goal. Wes Chandler, a fantastic day, 6 catches for 136 yards. But the Patriots have come back to take the lead. Here's the handoff. Couple yards there, Melvin Gordon, 16 carries for 60 yards. Patriots' run defense has been very solid in this one. They've got Vince Wilfork, Richard Seymour. Again, Teddy Bruschi at linebacker, Mike Vrabel at linebacker. So the Patriots, again, have a good, solid squad from top to bottom. You know, in a setup like this, so many teams have at least one weakness. And the Patriots really don't. They're steady top to bottom. By virtue of my rating system, like if you rate in the 80s, you're good. If you rate in the 70s, you're kind of adequate. The team that's actually surprising in that regard, the Bears, in their initial draw, the Bears come out rated at like a 75 as a team. But they're playing very competitively with everybody. Having Singletary and Butkus as a pair of linebackers for you will help do that. But Bobby Douglas at quarterback is not great runner, but not a great thrower. This Gordon is stuffed there on the draw. It doesn't fool anybody. It's 2nd and 13. Antween with the tackle. Yeah, the Bears will go as far as Gale Sayers takes them. Because they don't have a great receiving core either, but they do have Gale Sayers in the backfield. Motion here. Rote's in the shotgun. And it took too long to get that play off. That's going to be a delay of game.
Delay of game.
Delay of game gets called a little bit too frequently, but I'm willing to sacrifice that because that's a function of using the accelerated clock, which is going to get everything down to 10 seconds. And that lets me use the 15-minute clock. I hate doing like 10-minute quarters because I just feel like it's illegitimate. So using the accelerated clock with the full 15-minute quarters feels more real to me. But in order to do that, you've got to accelerate the clock down to 10 seconds. And most of the time, it's fine. It's not an egregious amount, but delay of game does happen a little bit too frequently. But I'm going to let that stand. But I do think, and I think Tex, you mentioned that also, I do think I'm going to tone down the roughing the passer, largely because it's a 15-yard penalty. And that's just, to have that penalty get called too frequently, I feel like can impact the game more than a couple too many delay of game calls. So that's probably the way I'm going to lean there. I was hoping for like 10 to 12 penalties a game because that's about how it was called like around 1990 or so, which is around the era that I'm trying to capture. But if I can get to like 7 or 8 penalties a game between the two teams combined, I think I'll sign up for that and call it a day there. So Wes Chandler continues to have a great game. 7 catches for 146. Chargers down by a point. We're down to 3.5 minutes left in the game. Again, first of all, if you guys are watching, thank you so much for checking in on this. Kindly subscribe if you have not as of yet. Bang that like button as well, as I'll be doing these a bit more frequently. Good job hitting Gordon out of the backfield. The Chargers trying to get themselves down into field goal range. Down to the 18. Rolf Benershka kicking into a net on the sideline. Hoping for a shot to win this. I formation. Speaking of I formation, here's another gripe about a good game that does things for unnecessary reasons. So if you guys are old school football fans like I am, you'll remember back in the day this standard pro set offense. Your quarterback under center, one running back behind him a little bit to his right, one running back behind him a little bit to the left. It's what the standard West Coast offense ran from and all that kind of stuff. They have taken that formation out of Madden. I can't use that formation anymore. It's not in the game anywhere. And it's just like what the closest thing they have is something called near and something called far, which is the two running backs are next to each other. One's directly behind the quarterback, and near is the other running back is on the strong side where the tight end is, and far is the other running back is on the weak side away from the tight end. But there's no standard pro set in the game. That's brutal. They don't have the T, but they don't have the T either. I don't think they have the full house. Full house can be set up, but I don't think it's set up in the T formation. But that standard pro set, like you can't take that out of the game. It was the biggest formation in football for 25 years. So it's frustrating. So in that regard, as Benershka comes on for a 27-yard field goal. Freeze with the hold. Benershka puts it through the uprights. And now Brady's going to have to mount the comeback again. 16-14 Chargers, a minute 17 left in the game. Let me see. Other stuff mentioned here in the chat. Kickers, different colored shoes. No option for barefoot kickers text. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. As. Big Flu, I've always looked at Madden's ratings range as letter grades. Yeah, 90 plus is an A, 80 to 89 is B, 70 to 79 is C. Yeah, that works a little bit to agree. I've actually toned it down a little bit when you see my player, because again, a big thing that I'm focused on is differentiation of players, and I've always felt like these games' rating systems have players too similar. So I stretch out the rating system a bit. So 90 is really reserved for like elite guys. I have a lot of very good, borderline great players who are going to rate somewhere in the 80s. A lot of very solid players are going to rate in the 70s. But that's also a function of having just the best players. I joke sometimes, if you've ever seen the movie The Incredibles, and when the villain Syndrome is doing his thing, and he says he wants to give everybody superpowers, because when everybody is super, no one will be. And I've always kind of latched to that, A, because I thought the concept was really cool. But it's true, like if you give everybody 90s ratings, well then everybody's the same. So the way I've developed the rating system is there's going to be differentiation between all of these really good to great players throughout history. You caught me monologuing. Yes, well done. It's just, good pass down the right-hand side. And that's complete. Down to the Chargers 25, Stanley Morgan. No, he was out of bounds. Oh, the way they did that graphic, I thought they said he was in bounds, and he's not. The Chargers So the Patriots still have all 3 timeouts. Oh, booth review. Oh, let's see. Hold on a sec. Let's see if they do this stupidly, too. This is one of my favorites. Arguing that Morgan had possession. I feel like that right foot was probably just out of bounds. So now they're going to show the official going to tell you what happens. And then the official doesn't tell you what happens. It just goes into the play. So the official never actually talks to you. Why go through that animation and not finish it with the official actually telling you what happened? That's beyond stupid. How does nobody catch that during testing? Again, all the big stuff is so right and done so well. And then you do little stuff like that, and it's just infuriating. So the Patriots use the first of their 3 timeouts. Again, though, the Chargers are at New England's 29, so even if New England can stop them here, use the timeouts, force the 4th down, Bernurshka will be within field goal range, and this will become a touchdown game instead of a field goal game. Chargers wisely playing it safe here, covering up. You can see all Melvin Gordon cares about there is not giving the ball up as Teddy Bruschi blows that play up, his 4th tackle of the game. 3rd and 15, clock is stopped at 51 seconds. Chargers are at the Patriots 30. I still can't believe I had the mute button on for the first 20 minutes. Good grief. Getting old sucks. Man moves a little bit. Here's the handoff. Again to Gordon. Gordon's brought down, gets down inside the 25. It'll be 4th down. So they've ridden Melvin Gordon pretty hard here in the 4th. Ralph Bernurshka comes on to try to turn this into a 5-point game. 41-yard field goal attempt coming up from Bernurshka. .46 ticks on the ticker. Bernurshka's kick is up and good. So Bernurshka puts the Chargers up 5. Is 43 seconds enough time for Tom Brady to lead a touchdown drive? I think we all know the answer. Certainly possible, though he does have no timeouts to work with. A very good point, Clue. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We see it all the time in all-time leagues where people are wondering why player X or player Y isn't doing what they expect. Well, so that's because he's facing tougher competition. Well, exactly. You know, people lose that all the time. You know, it's like if you put... Baseball was so much easier to make this comparison. But if you put a league full of 300 hitters and a league full of 2.5 ERA pitchers in the same league together, something is going to have to give there. Those pitchers are not all going to pitch to 2.5, and those hitters aren't all going to hit 300. That pass, however, hits Gronkowski in the hands, but he can't reel it in. 2nd and 10. You know, and like people lose sight of that kind of thing. You know, my thing is just always, can I make the argument for a realistic outcome is what I create is generating. And if I can say, yeah, I can absolutely see that being the way this plays out, then I'm good with it. Got to run the hurry up here. No huddle. Brady is up there. This is probably the last play. 43 seconds. I'm sorry, at the 43. Airmails it, and he's just going to try to stop the clock there. Didn't have a good option, so he throws it away to go for the Hail Mary here to end things. I got to fix that, actually. I don't remember Tom Brady wearing eye black. I got to double check that. I think I may have just forgotten to delete that off of the model that I used. But I digress. Shotgun formation. Brady back. Looking to air it out. Good job by the line to buy him time. Airs it out down the right-hand side. Near the end zone. Tipped away. There's no flag. And this one is over, and the San Diego Chargers pull off the upset of the New England Patriots 19-14. An exceptional job by the Chargers defense. Tobin wrote, didn't make any catastrophic mistakes. And that's what you're at. I mean, that's what the Chargers are going to need from him. Again, their initial draw, they don't get Fouts. They don't get Herbert. They don't get Phillip Rivers. Tobin Rote and John Freeze are the quarterback tandem here for the Chargers. I'm going to talk about a couple of other things tied to this whole project once this game is done. If people want to stick around, I'll show you a little bit of what I was talking about as far as the playbook situation, for example. So, Rote 65.5, 317. You will sign up for that. Melvin Gordon, 82 yards on 23 carries. Not a good per carry ratio. Let's go down to the player stats thing here. That's about as good a game as you're going to get out of Tobin Rote. 19 of 29 for 317, a touchdown and no picks. If you're the Chargers, if Rote gives you that kind of performance, the Chargers can do okay. Tom Brady, 21 of 40 for 215, 2 touchdowns. So not a Brady-esque kind of day. Not terrible by any means, but not at the level that you're expecting from Brady. So there you see. Okay. So there was a glitch in this game when Madden first came out. Look under Tom Brady there. It's got his number, his height, his weight, his college. I don't have a college entry for him, which I can fix. Experience, it says 31. If you started editing players when this game first came out, it would if you started editing a player, it would automatically give him 31 as his experience. Like, again, how does nobody catch that? So it doesn't do that anymore, but if there is a player who had that, it doesn't fix it. So once I start the franchise, I'll be able to go into Brady and fix that, and I'll assign everybody no experience, and that's how I'll start. I appreciate that clue. Thank you, Dwayne, both of you. Again, that's just the idea. I just, make a case for it to be realistic, within the bounds of acceptance. And my bounds of acceptance are fairly rigid. I'm not. I think anybody who knows how I go about these projects, I'm not sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm fine with things that are completely unrealistic." That's certainly not the case. But just within the bounds of how I think something could plausibly go and still be fun, and that's the objective. So we've talked about this previously too. The first time I did this broadcast, making sure that other running backs other than the primary back get some action. So you'll see here, the Chargers. Gordon gets the bulk of the carries, but Eckler got a few. Ryan Matthews got a few. Ronnie Harmon got a couple. For the Patriots, Falk gets the bulk, but Sam Cunningham got a few. James White got a couple too. So that's what we want to see. So we're in good regard there. Defensively, this game worked out pretty well. There were only 2 sacks in this game. And again, they're both from defensive backs. That's something that when I get the playbook thing rolling, I'm going to be shooting to fix. Defensive backs blitz a lot in this game. And I don't want the game to play that way. So again, I think defensive backs blitz a lot more now than they used to. So that's something I'm not going to have defensive backs blitzing as much. I also think that having defensive backs blitz so much, especially when you have a league that's going to be offense, it's going to have so much offensive talent, receiver talent, quarterback talent, etc. Minimizing the defensive backs blitz is going to also cut down on the number of huge pass plays. So I want to make sure that that's in a balance. I won't mind an occasional offensive game, and I get a great mix so far on the testing. This is 16-14. I've had games, both teams scoring in the 30s. So I'm getting a really, good mix of results based on the team so far, which I'm very, very happy with. Let me see. I'm sorry. text many instances of Brady wearing eye black. Okay, all right, so that's cool. I wasn't remembering it off the top of my head, but that's good. Yeah, I have no problem with him wearing it if it's something that he really did. The greatest player should do better than the good player. Does not mean the great player never had a bad game, series, or even year. It's funny you mentioned that. I remember I had a broadcast I did last year for Franchise Stars Baseball League, and Willie Mays dropped a fly ball. And the guy did like a laugh reaction. He's like, that's totally unrealistic. I'm like, why don't you look up Willie Mays' career stats and come back to me and let me know how many errors he committed in his career? And the guy, I never got the comment from that. I'm like, really? I'm like, so you watch a one-off game and it happens to be a game where Willie Mays makes an error and you're going to proclaim like my project is unrealistic? I'm like, come on, stop it. Don't be silly. But yeah, like people are just like, and people are always in such a rush to proclaim, and this isn't a me thing, this is a game thing in general. Proclaim things as unrealistic. And people love using words like that and throwing stuff like that around. I'm like, what do you mean? What do you mean by unrealistic? And people can never really define it. It's just kind of, again, people are hypercritical in general for things. And again, that's not even so much talking about my project in particular, but just games as a whole. Like, I'll see the complaints that people will make about other games that I'm not even overly into, and they'll post some sort of a result and say, oh, this is ridiculous. This team, it's one of the reasons why I don't do season replays. Because I don't understand the appeal of them, frankly. If the results differ too much, then it's not realistic and it's not really a replay. And if it adheres to the results precisely, I'm like, well, I know what already happened, so why am I playing this out? To get the exact same result. I've never understood the whole concept of replays, but some people love them, and it's like, more power to them. But like Bernard, our good friend Bernard Strong, Bernard just did a thing in PC Replay, which is a game I don't play and I don't have. But his Red Sox season, he had Carl Yastrzemski hit 70 homers. It was like, geez, Yastrzemski hit 70. It's like, okay, but overwhelmingly the other numbers that Bernie got in that sim for players were in line, right? Like they were in line with exactly where you think they should be. So all right, so the Yastrzemski outlier is in a big category, like the most important baseball category, and so you can sit there and say, oh my God, that's terrible. But it's like, but it's one stat. Like, look at the thing in the entirety. And judge the package as an entirety. And the entire project seemed to go really well. Yeah, Yastrzemski was an outlier. All right, well, that happens. If you have 20 outliers, then they're no longer outliers, then they're problems. Trying to go back here again, make sure I didn't even miss. Clue asks, are you determining rosters similar to the franchise baseball method? It's exactly the same, actually. So for the Franchise Stars Baseball League, I used ranking in terms of WAR. Football's closest equivalent to WAR is something called approximate value, which is on Pro Football Reference. So I've sorted the player lists for all the franchises based on approximate value. But it's the same thing. No doppelgangers. Player will go where he's ranked higher at a given position, etc. And so that's how it's all being sorted. The player pool is a bit bigger. It's 130 per franchise instead of 100 like the FSBL is. And then it's a random generator, spits out 50 players for year one, and then players will come in through rookie drafts subsequently down the line. The advantage that Madden has that MLB The Show for the Franchise Stars Baseball League doesn't have is I can create draft classes to import to Madden. So that process will basically end up being, I will develop, at least in theory, I have to play this out and make sure this is the way I can work it. I'm going to have a backup version of my franchise. I'll sim the backup version ahead at the end of a season to the rookie draft. I'll log what position of fictional players each team drafts, and then I will create the draft class with the corresponding players. So again, if the Chargers draft a quarterback in the first round, and the generator spits out that Dan Fouts is the quarterback who comes up, I will then create Dan Fouts for the draft class, do that all the way through, create the draft class, and then proceed, import the draft class into the real version of the franchise, and conduct the draft from there and assign the players to the right team, because I'll be able to control all the teams and make sure everybody selects the right players and all that kind of stuff. So that's, so yeah, it's basically going to be exactly the same process as, as the Franchise Stars Baseball League. Just the ability to do the draft class helps me out a little bit in terms of structure. All right, so you can see all these results. Your leading tacklers. I want to get to the playbook thing just to explain, because I've talked a lot about the playbook thing, and now that I'm saying I'm going to kind of put that off a little bit, I want to kind of show people why that's the case. Teddy Bruschi, 15 tackles, leads the way there. There's really... Oh, let me see penalties. Penalties worked out. Neither team turned the ball over at all. 6 penalties for each team, but again, a few of those roughing the passer penalties. I am going to tone that down. Again, just because it's a 15-yard penalty. Like, if there were too many false starts, I'd be like, all right, whatever. It's a 5-yard penalty. But too many roughing the passer penalties is something that can really, really skew the result of a game. All right, so we're going to get out of this. That was a fun game. That was a good one. I enjoyed that. And now let's go into... Jets haven't been done yet. The Jets won't actually rate as an 88 there. Back out here. Go into creation mode. Go into playbooks. All right. So I was working on one for Bill Cowher for the Steelers, who were the first team that I had done. And basically what I did was I took an empty playbook, and then I created a script, which I can't show you here, because it's on my laptop. But basically, I've created the generator that spits out, and it's just adding 100 plays. I don't need to create a 500 play playbook. Every franchise is going to have 100 plays to start out, and if I decide that I want to add to that eventually, I will. So now, through the random generator, I've got these different things, and you can see my playbook, and it will show you the different formations. So under the I form, under the close set, these 5 plays are in the playbook. If you go to single back, that's the only play under the ace slot set. But if you go to the deuce, there's a play called in the deuce. There's 2 plays called in deuce close, etc. Okay, all well and good. Here's where the problem comes in. Play call script. Push the L2 button next to situation. So that situation where nothing says next to it, that's kind of your base. It doesn't mention it, but it's basically first down, right? So now you have 30 different plays that you can assign to that spot. Okay? All well and good. You have to have at least one play assigned to each situation. So I went and I did that one. That's fine. But now if you go to second and long, so you have to have one play there. Play action deep from the strong I formation, close set. Here's the problem. In a second and long situation, if PA deep is the only play that is in that situation, that is the only play that the game will call in that situation, which means you now have to go to edit plays. Click to edit plays, add play. That's fine. You now have to go to your formation that you want and the set that you want, and it will give you the available plays. But I can't click. So if I want skinny post here, and I say, hey, skinny post would work well on third and medium and third and short also. Nope, I can't do that. I can only add that play to this here. And now when I go to second and medium, if I wanted to add that play, I have to go to edit plays, add play, and go pick that play again for each one of these. All of those, I have to go and do that process and populate the 30 plays in each situation to go and get through it. It's doable, but it's moronically time consuming. There has to be a better way to go and do that. So again, it's just a matter of it being such a time consuming process. And now I'm going to do that for 32 franchises for offense and then do it for all the franchises for a defensive playbook also. So it's just a matter that it's going to be really, really time consuming to do it. I will eventually do it, but for now, my focus has to be on just getting the players into the game, getting the rosters created, and running that through the paces. And then I can worry about the playbook stuff afterwards. Yes. Well, that's exactly it. Like, so what should happen, the way it should be done, is I should be able to go to my playbook and I should be able. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Wait a second. Let me see something. I may have actually just realized. I thought that this thing. So you see on the right there, second and long, second and medium, second and short, as my dog sneezes in the background. If I click, will it let me do it? Right, doggy. What's the Holly the Bernedoodle sneezing up a storm here? I apologize. So if I click HB ISO, I can't. Oh, I can do that. Oh, that changes things. I thought this was just telling me where it was rated and like showing me what that play was rated for already. And with the no stars, that I hadn't put it there yet. I didn't realize I could put it there from this screen. So like now, so if I take HB ISO and now I decide to put it, and now you can rate it for frequency for how it would be called for that. So now HB ISO, in theory, let me make sure that this works, should show up on second and long, second and medium, second and short. Right? So let's go and save it. Oh, that's so huge. Second long, HB ISO, second and medium. Oh, that's such a great discovery. Oh, boy. All right, well, that may make the playbook thing a little bit more feasible to do a little bit more quickly. I still think there'd probably be an even easier way to do that, but that's much, much better. See, and this is why we tinker and we test and we look around and we mess with things, because sometimes you discover stuff that you can do, stuff that you didn't think you could do previously. Oh, that's so helpful. Because the way it was, the way I was doing it before, I was like, God, this is totally stupid. And add play, because it lets you add a play, so you can add a play from here. Maybe it was just me assuming that because EA does so many dumb things, that this was going to be a dumb thing that it did too. But no, I was incorrect. I can do it from the other screen. Oh God, that's so freaking huge. Because I'm really excited about this whole playbook thing. Because it's really going to make it play well. Oh, that's very exciting. All right, well now I'm just kind of rambling and talking to myself about that, so I apologize. But oh, that's very, very cool. I haven't developed a system yet to select audibles. But I'm not as worried about. But if I can do that play assignment that easily, that's a big thing. That's a very, very big thing. Because I can set my spreadsheet up in a way that every play I get to, I can just have an X next to the play under each situation and tell me that I can assign it to that situation. So that's really, really, really cool. I just did an ID Chester. I've seen his channel, but I'm not sure what that reference is. But that's just learning something in the process of a broadcast. Yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool. Oh, that's exciting. All right. I still think I'm going to put a little bit more focus onto getting the players into the game a little bit more than the playbook stuff. But I will still be tinkering with the playbook stuff now because that gives me an avenue there. Let me see. I'm trying to think of other stuff I can talk about regarding the project here that I can show you. Oh, here's another irritation. So you have your roster limits. You have signed free agents. So, all right, I'll talk a little bit about player creation. So the way I'm doing it, I don't know what the limit is, but there is a limit to how many players you can create if you go to the functional player creation method on the main menu. So what's being done here is I'm overwriting players. All right, that's fair, Dwayne. I own that. I own that one here. That was good. That was just, I saw it was only in one place, and I assumed that was the only way I could do it. So that was a good discovery. I like that. So players who are rated in my system as an 80 or over are going to be, let's go down. I've done the Broncos ratings, but I haven't added players. So let's take somebody like, well, Champ Bailey is somebody who this original set actually had in it. Let's take somebody like Steve Atwater. Okay, so Steve Atwater is going to rank as like an 87. Really, really good, strong safety for the Broncos in the 80s. I think he played into the early 90s, if I remember right. So you'll see now all these guys who have different history. Kareem Jackson has a robust player history. He's a 12-year veteran. We don't really want to overwrite him with anybody who we think is going to be a prominent player in this league for a long time and could end up on a leaderboard in a certain category. PJ Locke, 4 years of experience. Dellerin Turner Yell, 1 year of experience, probably doesn't have... All right, so he's got 5 solo tackles in his career. That's his only stat. So when I create Steve Atwater, I'm going to overwrite Dellerin Turner Yell and turn him into Steve Atwater. Because nobody cares that, again, Atwater will now be a guy who's created with essentially a blank history. And then I'll be able to go add that stuff there, add the uniform number. I've been doing the colleges. Maybe people don't care about it. I haven't done the hometowns and state. That I couldn't care less about. But I have been assigning guys to their proper college because college football is so popular. I think that would be a good thing to include. I think a lot of people would like to see the college, do the ratings and all that kind of stuff, the attributes. All right, here we go. We're gonna have a little fun on the absurdity of the player creation model. So, go to appearances. Let's take a look. Oh, here's the latest glitch. Here's the latest glitch of this. Since the latest update of less than a week ago. So when you went down this whole list of the faces, all those gray boxes used to show you the face that you were going to pick. So yes, the face changes on the right, but you saw an image on the left of what that face would presumably be, which made it a lot easier to go through and scroll and all that kind of stuff. Now, the preview doesn't show on the left anymore. Who knows when and if they'll get it fixed. But you see all these black people faces, there's a lot of good differentiation. Some of these are a little weird. Like, there was just an alien guy. Like that. I guess if you want, a 95-year-old black dude playing linebacker for you, you can go ahead and put this guy in the game. But I don't know what other purpose there would be to assign that guy. But, for overall, it seems like they've got a pretty nice variety of African-American players and faces and facial hair and stuff like that. Not too bad. Let's go and let's get down. And again, I fully recognize that throughout the history of these sports games, black people's appearances have generally been the ones that have been sacrificed, particularly in the mode for the hair and all that kind of stuff. So this is, I guess, kind of a comeuppance. But let's check out some of these. All right, now this guy, classic science teacher face. I don't really know if a football player is going to look like that, but that's not by any means the worst of them. We got a few Asian faces in here. The throws. All right, this is the face that I ended up choosing for Terry Bradshaw. He looks nothing like Terry Bradshaw. Absolutely nothing. But there is not a single player model with light blonde hair who you can use. So I thought the bald guy came as close, but wait a second. There's a few alien-like faces that we want to get to here. There's about 5 variations of this face that all look very, very much the same. Kind of stereotypical offensive line face. There's another one. There's another one. All these guys who kind of sort of look like Shrek. All right. Can somebody tell me what in the world this is? If I'm starting the Garden Gnome Football Association, this guy would get used. Other than that, who is going to select that face as the appearance for their guy? The only possible reason that I might select this face is the mustache-beard combination because there's so few guys. But, I mean, this guy, he looks like he lives under a bridge. Who is picking that guy? What is the purpose of having a face like that in the game? There's a couple of other ones, though. Hold on a second. Let's get to it. It gets better. Guy's a little dopey. A bunch of these guys seem to be a little bit cross-eyed for some odd reason. Did they take some faces out of the game? What is that haircut? What is that? But even that, all right, whatever. There's a super alien-looking guy who now I feel like I've got to try and find. It also seems like they changed the order. Again, here's another guy. This guy looks like he's 65. Who is putting this guy in a uniform? Like, what are you doing? EA, what are you doing in terms of creation? And a few of these guys are fine. Again, another Dumbo creation. Like, nobody looks like that, man. Nobody. Don't give me these guys who are completely unusable. There's one that I'm trying to find. All right, here you go. What is this? What is that head? There's I remember he was green. It was a DC comic thing again. But like it was like a giant head guy who I don't remember. I don't know if it's the Thinker or something. But like, what are you doing? Nobody is picking that head either. But I can't get a guy who just has a mustache. It blows my mind, the stupidity of it. It really, really does. Let me see. There's one that I'm really hoping didn't get removed. That guy looks a little dopey. Yeah, again, that guy, for one thing, why is he red? So this is an alcoholic 1955 lineman for some odd reason. Like the things and faces that it puts into this game, given the stuff that it leaves out, just make absolutely no sense. There was another alien-looking guy, but we're not going to go... Again, I don't have the preview, so I can't go finding him easily. He was somewhere in this vicinity. But regardless, I think I've kind of made my point about it. But, but I do have the option of, as far as who I'm overwriting, the creation of like an 80s plus guy will go over a guy with no player history. An offensive lineman, nobody cares who I'm overwriting on an offensive lineman really because they're not going to accumulate stats. So that's a little bit less of a challenge. But basically guys who are going to be ranked 80 or above will overwrite players with no or minimal experience, and then lesser players who aren't really going to be factors in the long-term history of the league or populate leaderboards or that kind of thing. I'm a little bit less worried about them having histories before this. They'll still have the same years of experience, but I can't delete the player history. So, like, the leader, yes, well done, Clue, thank you. Oh, man, that was going to irritate me that I couldn't remember who that was. Yes, the leader. So if the Broncos, I can't think of one off the top of my head, but if the Broncos have a defensive back who's a 67 or something like that, so he's going to be the 6th or 7th defensive back on the depth chart, I'll overwrite Kareem Jackson with that guy because nobody's going to be looking up that guy's career stats in the mode of the game. But when I get into franchise mode, I will be able to turn that 12 years of experience to no years of experience and get his age to be 22, like I'm going to want to start everybody out as. I just won't be able to delete the player history. Let me see. I think that is pretty much it. If anybody's got any other questions, again, feel free, shoot me anything on Facebook, on the Discord. Any questions, stuff you want me to cover in future broadcasts. Again, I'm going to do a few of these over the next week. There were some good matchups mentioned. I'll do Packers-Bears. I know Dwayne had mentioned that one as a matchup. 49ers-Dolphins. I'll do that one too in the not too distant future. Hold on one second. Okay, sorry. I had a text I had to see. Oh! Cubs hiring Craig Counsell, Mets hiring Carlos Mendoza. You heard it here first. So if you have any other questions tied to this project, shoot me a message there and I will cover them in the next broadcast that I do. But I greatly appreciate you guys checking in here. I am really, really excited about this project. Again, the Franchise Stars Baseball League has gone better than I ever could have possibly imagined it going. Really looking forward to getting that postseason rolling. Again, there will be a Franchise Stars Baseball League broadcast this evening. Indians, Twins, that'll be up. I don't know. I'll probably do it on a little bit on the later side. Relatively late evening. I'll probably post that one 9 or 10 o'clock tonight, something like that. But if this goes half as well as the baseball broadcast, the Baseball League has gone, this is going to be a fun ride. So I appreciate you guys checking in and your support of the channel as always. Bang that like button on your way out if you haven't already. It is a tremendous help in keeping me and the Legend Sports universe viewed. So thank you very much. Pirates just choked that series, Clue. They choked a 3-game set in LA. Dodgers swept them, so now the Dodgers have overtaken the Pirates for that wild card spot. Pirates are now, I think, a game and a half behind entering the final week of the season. But that league is so much fun, and it's been a blast, and you guys are a big reason why that has been the case. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day, gentlemen. Big Clue, Gary Sorrell, Dwayne Martz, 007, Cyro 329. I didn't even see you sneak in, man. Good to see you, Cyro. I hope all is well with you. I've got a couple of videos of yours to catch up on watching. For the rest of you guys, Cyro does really cool work. He's done an all-time kind of project with Madden 08, if I remember correctly. Go check out his channel and some cool stuff there. He does a fine job with that stuff and on his channel. So go give him some love as well. Tex Ags 007. Did I miss anybody else who was in here earlier on? I do not believe so. Again, MV. MV was in the house too. MV, I think, was here when I was still on mute. God, that was embarrassing. First 20 minutes of this broadcast, nothing there. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, gentlemen. I'm sure I will see you all around the YouTube Discord extravaganza. Be good, fellas. Talk soon.